with a weather update. We are on Facebook Live here. We're getting some strong thunderstorms now rolling through western Kentucky, one of which has a tornado warning with it. And it's the one now moving into the northwestern corner of Christian County, and it does have some strong rotation with it. Let's show you first the watch warning graphic here. This is where the tornado watch is in effect for the county shaded in red. We have the tornado warning that is out for a part of Caldwell County that includes Princeton and also takes in the area up to about Crofton in northwestern Christian County. That's in effect until the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. And you can see outside of that, we have a yellow polygon. That's a severe thunderstorm warning, also in effect for the southwestern corner of Hopkins County and portions of northwestern Christian County for the next little while. And that's for what has been a long-lived supercell here. There's a ton of lightning associated with that storm, and there it is on Max Storm HD. We're going to zoom in here, and this storm has that classic look to it, that supercell look, where we have the strongest returns here on the northern side of that, and we also have that rear flank kind of wrapping around there, a hook echo, we call that. That hook echo is now moved out of Caldwell County into the northwest corner of Christian County and is bearing down on the Crofton area. And you can see the area flashing up here along the corner of Hopkins and Christian counties, not too far away from Dawson Springs. There's likely to be some large hail associated with that. We've had hail covering the ground in association with this storm, and hail up to ping pong size with it. Right now it may be producing hail up to quarter size, and there's the movement on the storm, kind of following the county line there with Hopkins and Christian County, but it's the southwestern flank, the rear flank of the storm that we're most concerned about here, because that's where the strongest rotation is. And right now that strongest rotation is just west of the Crofton community. We're going to go in a little bit tighter here, and we'll show you Crofton. This is all happening northwest of Hopkinsville. You see the red here against the green. This would be inbound wind versus outbound wind. And whenever we see the two clustered tightly together like we see here close to Highway 109 and close to Highway 1348 in northwestern Christian County, that is a red flag that the storm does contain some strong rotation that may be trying to work its way to the ground. We don't know of a tornado being on the ground with this one right now, but that is indeed a possibility here, and that's just a few miles west of the Crofton community. And by the way, we will continue along here on Facebook Live for the moment. Should this rotation work its way past Crofton and east of Crofton and into the eastern side of Christian County, then those of you that may be watching us over in Todd County or maybe even southern Muhlenberg County may want to take note, because that would be working closer to you with time. But right now it's in northwestern Christian County. And should that happen, by the way, should that storm make its way east of Crofton and we get a tornado warning for either Muhlenberg or Todd County, then we would go on the air on WBKO television for that. Trying to avoid doing so right now, but just know that if this storm were to work its way closer to Todd or Muhlenberg counties, then there's a possibility that we could go on the air for that. So just a heads up there. Right now, the strongest rotation appears to be just a few miles west of Crofton, and it's in that area of Highway 1348, also Highway 109. This is all southeast of Dawson Springs, which is up here at the top of the screen there in Hopkins County. Here's Crofton, and I'll zoom back out here and show you where Hopkinsville is. You can see where the radar site is there. That's the Fort Campbell radar, which is actually located in Todd County, but it's picking up on that strong rotation there just west of Crofton. A lot of lightning with that storm. Haven't seen anything the likes of this in our area for quite some time, but this is indeed a supercell that is working its way eastward now into parts of Christian County. There's updated info, basically a retransmit on that warning for the northern part of Christian County until 8 o'clock, including the city of Crofton. That takes in the area up to about the Pennyroyal Parkway north of Hopkinsville. Outside of that, we have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Caldwell County. Although the worst of the weather has moved out of the Princeton area, it's now affecting southern Hopkins County and northwesternmost Christian County. If we have anyone in that area abreast of the situation, if you live in Crofton, you certainly need to be in a place of safety right now. So that would be a basement or the lowest level of your home, away from outside walls, away from windows, of course, and staying there until that threat is passed. Again, that's the area under the tornado warning right now, northwestern Christian County. I'm going to go back to velocity mode here. And just a few miles west of Crofton is where the strongest rotation is. I'll take off the warnings. And the area of green here, that would be wind blowing toward the radar site at Fort Campbell. The area of red, that would be wind blowing away from the radar site. So basically, you've got some gate-to-gate shear noted here. It's not the strongest we've ever seen, but you've got decent wind on either side of where that gate-to-gate shear is showing up. So we'll have to see if this tries to strengthen or tighten with further runs here. I'm going to check with the National Weather Service. We got a report. This is actually out of Missouri, golf ball size or ping pong size hail, I should say, out of a storm there. That's not affecting our area right now. So again, the concern at the moment is what we're noting over northwestern Christian County with the rotation center here just a few miles west of Crofton. We'll go back in a little bit tighter on this once again. And there's Highway 1348, Highway 109, which runs south out of the Dawson Springs area and out of the Pennyroyal Park area. And that is working its way toward Crofton. So if by chance you're watching this around Crofton, you need to be in a place of safety right now, as that is working east. So I'm going to go fan out the view here. Here's Todd County right here. This is all happening a good bit northwest of Elkton right now. Here's Muhlenberg County. Let me pan my way to the north, get Greenville in on the map here. Greenville, this would likely stay to your south. And if anything, this storm has been sort of turning right with time. And a lot of times you'll get that out of these supercell storms, what we call right turners, as they progress to the east. Sometimes they try to intensify. They may show some sign of turning to the right or bending southward a little bit. And that's exactly what this one's trying to do. So Greenville, I think you're okay. Nortonville over in Hopkins County, you're okay as far as the tornado threat. It's to your south. Crofton, you're not okay at the moment. You are in danger of possibly seeing a tornado touchdown in the area. Again, we don't know of anything on the ground. We keep checking with storm spotters, emergency management in that area. But obviously, the Weather Service seeing that rotation as well. And as of last update from the Weather Service, this as of 7:46, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near the Cobb community, which is 10 miles south of Dawson Springs, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So that's the rotation that we're seeing right here. We should get another scan that will update here momentarily, and I would suspect that that rotation center will be closer to the city of Crofton, hopefully not any stronger than what it's showing right now. Showing the hail core here, that's still pretty impressive. And if anything, that's a little bit more impressive on the latest run. So the max hail size here, about 1.5 inches in diameter. So that's close to ping pong ball size. Ping pong ball, that would be about 1.5 inches. Golf ball would be about 1.75 inches. So that's not too far shy of that. And that could be working its way to the ground in the Crofton area very soon. Oftentimes, the hail core with these storms will precede a possible tornado. So we're watching very closely for that. Of course, we appreciate any updates that you might have. Those of you out in Bowling Green wondering, hey, when is this going to arrive in our area? Well, it's going to be several more hours. We're talking closer to midnight tonight. And then for those of you east of Bowling Green, it would be into the wee hours of the morning. We think by then there will be some weakening with the storms. But by 1, 2 a.m., we're looking at Glasgow. Wondering about Gamale. Is Jimmy Gamale? Storms would probably not arrive in your area there in Monroe County until we get closer to 2 a.m. So if you live in Bowling Green or Points East, you plan to go to bed, say 9, 10 o'clock tonight, make sure you do so with the smartphones on. Have our app downloaded. You can get the warning information there. And also weather radios. If you have a no weather radio, make sure that it is turned on and on alert mode before you go to bed at night. Of course, the other problem with tornadoes at night, they're very difficult to see, A, and B, in our area, a lot of times they're going to be rain-wrapped, which makes it that much tougher to see at night. So a lot of times storm spotters have to look for lightning to sort of illuminate the bottom side of these cumulonimbus clouds, these supercells, and try to determine if anything tornadic may be coming out of that. I know a lot of you are wondering, hey, when's it going to be in my community? Tracy, what about Scottsville? Scottsville, probably not until after midnight. Same for Greensburg. Rhonda wondering about Franklin. Franklin, I think, strongest storms closer to midnight. Same for anybody along the I-65 corridor. Scottsville, probably arrival after midnight there. And keep in mind that beyond this storm that we're tracking now in Christian County, we've got more beyond it. I'm going to go back here into Missouri. You can see one tornado warning storm there. And as I take off the warning layer, you can see how the storms are trying to congeal into a line. This is the activity that would arrive in our area closer to midnight. And I say our area, Bowling Green in general, the I-65 corridor. So this is still several hours away. And that just underscores the importance of having your weather radio on alert mode, so that way warnings are issued for your county. You get the information and it wakes you up and alerts you to that. I'm going to go back here to the supercell that's now crossing through northern Christian County. We should have updated info on that. It still has that classic supercellular look to it, where you've got the hook echo there and what we call a bounded weak echo region on either side of that. I'll go in a little bit closer here to explain what I'm talking about. This is all just west of Crofton here in Christian County. And you see that weak echo region right here. The storm is wrapping around here. So possible tornado would be right here at the tip of where the highest reflectivity is on that hook echo. So we're talking just 2 or 3 miles west of Crofton here based on the latest sweep from the radar site out of Fort Campbell. I'll go to velocity mode, and it looks a little bit messier here, so to speak, than it did a little bit ago, but still we're noting gate-to-gate shear, and it's still pretty strong there, approaching the Crofton area. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, for those of you out here in Todd County, certainly northern Todd County, far southern Muhlenberg County, the Lake Malone area, you want to be paying attention to what's going on here, as if we get a tornado warning, we're getting close to the top of the hour on this one right now. This warning in effect until 8 o'clock. We could get another tornado warning that would take in areas of northeastern Christian County and possibly southern Muhlenberg, northern Todd County. We will await the word officially from the Weather Service in Paducah on that, but still noting pronounced gate-to-gate shear here and pronounced rotation on radar. And that's located just a few miles west of Crofton. I suspect the next sweep that comes along would put it very close to, if not right over, the community of Crofton. Okay, there we go. There's a new tornado warning. This is in effect for northern and northeastern parts of Christian County, and this will go until 8:30 this evening. So that's a new tornado warning from the Weather Service in Paducah that will basically replace the old one. The old one will be coming down here in just a few moments. That new warning will go until 8:30. So fanning back out the view here, again, there is the polygon associated with the new warning. That's now until 8:30 for basically northern Christian County, the southernmost part of Hopkins County in on that. Right now, Muhlenberg, Todd County not in on that warning as of now. But again, if you live in northern Todd, southern Muhlenberg County, you certainly need to be paying close attention to this, as this is not far to your west right now. And that storm continues to work its way off to the east. We'll get a few more particulars on that from the Weather Service. We've had a report of dime-size hail in Crofton from David Powell, who's in emergency management there. And there is still potential that hail could be even larger than that as the storm works its way eastward into the Crofton community. So the newest report here from the Weather Service, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located right over Crofton, or 12 miles north of Hopkinsville, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So the main threats here would be a possible tornado and hail up to ping pong size. So even though this is radar indicated, you still need to take the threat seriously there in northern Christian County. And know that in northern Todd County, southern Muhlenberg County, you may need to be seeking shelter fairly soon here in case that storm continues on to the east and works its way into your area a little bit closer to, say, Lake Malone. As I mentioned earlier, if it does so, then we could be going on the air for that. Right now, we're sticking here to streaming and Facebook Live, but obviously if the storm continues holding its own here, working its way to the east, then those of you in southern Muhlenberg, northern Todd County would be under the gun for the potential of seeing a tornado. So here it is on reflectivity. I'm going to go back to velocity mode, still noting pretty strong rotation in the Crofton area right now. Looking for any lofted debris. I don't see anything yet that would lead us to believe that there's anything on the ground. But the rotation center has tightened up a little bit. What we can tell you now, and this is a spotter report coming in from northern Christian County of a rotating wall cloud. Okay, check myself here. This is actually over in Bloomfield, Missouri. Okay, this is Bloomfield, Missouri. So not in our area. But again, the rotation, we've still noted on radar here in the Crofton area. It's still very tight. So there could be a tornado dropping from this at any moment in or near the city of Crofton, an area no stranger to tornadoes there north of Hopkinsville. There's Hopkinsville coming into view. There's Elkton again. Elkton, this is all going on to your northwest right now. Tornado warning for the northern part of Christian County, southern Hopkins County until 8:30. So that essentially replaces the old one. That old polygon will be coming down here momentarily. Same goes for the severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, now we just have that one. So there's that. I'm going to wind back out the view here. And there is southeast Missouri. There is another active tornado warning, and mentioned there's a rotating wall cloud associated with that storm. That's off to the northeast of the Poplar Bluff area, basically between Poplar Bluff and Cape Girardeau. So that's still well to our west, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that. But I have to say, this is still a classic-looking supercell that we've got here, and it's a long-tracked one, too. This one developed over southeast Missouri earlier, crossed over the Mississippi River, produced large hail. There was hail covering the ground in its wake over far west Kentucky. We saw pictures of that earlier. Now that storm is over northern Christian County. It's still wrapped up pretty good there. And that possible tornado would be over, if not very close to the city of Crofton right now. Southern Hopkins County also in on that tornado warning, but looks like the main threat would be just a couple miles south the county line there, and also a few miles to the north of Hopkinsville, basically right up the Penny Ryle Parkway. We'll show you the hail core of this one. Tighten back in once again, and looks like just northwest of Crofton. The max hail size, it's come up just a tad now, closer to golf ball size. That's 1.7 inches in diameter. So that's a concern there, too, along with the possible tornado. There's the shear marker showing up with that storm. A lot of blue there, so anytime we see that, we know there are a lot of chaotic winds, a lot of shear involved with the storm. And there's two types of shear when it comes to anything tornadic that we look at. One would be speed shear, how fast the winds are blowing aloft. The other would be what we call directional shear, or the amount of spin as you go from the surface on up through the atmosphere. Turning winds, in other words. Let's say the winds at the surface may be from the south or maybe south-southeast, and as you go up a few thousand feet off the ground, they start turning more southwesterly and then westerly. That's what we call directional shear. So both of those in play here, and that's leading to the potential development of a tornado. Again, we continue to check with folks from the Weather Service, storm spotters, But I have to say that rotation center is really getting stronger now in the last run here, the last sweep around the Crofton community, and also along Highway 800 and US 41 and the Pennyroyal Parkway, all involved here. And as I work my way back to the east, here's the northern part of Todd County, pointing that out with the arrow right there. There's southern Muhlenberg County. So if you live in those areas and you're watching us right now over toward Lake Malone, be prepared. Know where your safe spot is. It's kind of ironic that we're dealing with this tonight, a tornado warning, because this week is severe weather preparedness week here in the state of Kentucky. We've got a tornado drill statewide, in fact, coming up Wednesday morning at 9:07. So I guess it's only timely that we're dealing with severe weather, something that we haven't dealt with in a while, but it is that season. We're getting into March now, and only appropriate that at the beginning of Severe Weather Awareness Week that we've got severe weather at our doorstep. And right now, the concern is they're in the Crofton area, and now just a little bit east of there that a tornado could be on the ground at this moment. Tightening rotation here. We've been noticing that over the last few runs near US 41, also near Highway 1348, also near the Pennyroyal Parkway, and there's Highway 800 a little bit east of Crofton. If you are in this area, please be in a safe spot right now, be it a basement, storm cellar. Underground room is best. If you don't have a place underground to go, then the next best bet would be lowest floor of your home. An interior hallway is a good spot. Bathtub in the bathroom is a good spot, making sure that you are shielding yourself with blankets, pillows, maybe even a mattress. A mattress is best. Bicycle helmet, if you got one that fits, put it on. Football helmet, got one that fits, put that on too to protect yourself from any flying debris. Going to look at lofted debris here. I am a little bit concerned about the color change that we're noting there just east of Crofton, if something could be on the ground in this area. Again, we don't have any confirmation of that right now, but this is the area of concern now that would be close to Highway 800. Now, pan my way to the east to get Todd County, a little bit more of Todd County in on that up to about the Allegheny area and Kirkmansville area. Again, Todd County, you're not under a tornado warning right now. But if this holds its own, it could be, and if it does, we will certainly go on air for it over on WBKO ABC. So there's the view right now. Again, checking with storm spotters here. We continue to note strong rotation now just east of Crofton. This is the latest run. I'm very concerned, especially that this is trying to strengthen here. That area of green looks far more pronounced. The inflow of this storm getting a little bit better with time, which is definitely disconcerting. You've got gate-to-gate shear and a negative velocity on this side of the area of rotation. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have a strong positive gate-to-gate shear number showing with strongly positive velocity. So anytime you've got opposites here, strongly positive with the red shaded area, that would be wind blowing away from the radar, against strongly negative, which would be wind blowing toward the radar site, in this instance coming out of Fort Campbell. That is very disconcerting indeed. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've got a wall cloud, at the very least, a rotating wall cloud that could be trying to work its way to the ground here now a few miles east of the vicinity of Crofton. And that storm continues to work its way to the east. It still looks very healthy, and if it holds its own, could affect northern Todd County and southern Muhlenberg County in the next half hour or so. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. There's the rest of the view of the storms now over southeast Missouri. Those are pretty healthy too. The atmosphere pretty unstable across western Kentucky, as we had some sunshine to heat things up this afternoon. Even though the sun has gone down, there's still some instability for these storms to tap into. Fair amount of moisture too. And as noted earlier, shearing winds. You got some stronger winds as you go up several thousand feet. So that's a concern as well. There's Bowling Green relative to this supercell, which would be to our west by at least an hour or so. We time this out. Again, the storm, it's working its way to the east at 25 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is time out the leading edge of the storm here. And that eastward movement is going to take it into the Lake Malone area by around 8:30. So within the next half hour, the leading edge of the storm is going to be working its way toward Lake Malone in the northeastern corner of Todd County, southernmost Muhlenberg County, and then the Whiskey Bay area by 8:33. This is still a good while from Bowling Green. The storm is not moving all that rapidly. Sometimes we get a congealed line of storms or an organized line that tends to move, say, 50, 60 miles an hour. This storm is moving along at 25 miles an hour to the east, so it's not moving all that quick. So it could be a while if it holds its own before it would arrive in Bowling Green. So right now, Bowling Green, we're okay, but just know that we've got some activity not too far to the west right now. And also, folks, I'm sure wondering, too, could we see another watch east of the current one? We've got that tornado watch. There it is in effect for the westernmost counties as it stands. But no doubt the folks at the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service are keeping a close eye on this, because as these storms work their way eastward, including the Supercell storm that we're tracking right now, if it gets outside that watch area and others do the same, then yeah, it's possible that we could be looking at another watch issued farther east of the current one. We'll stand by, wait and see what the Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center decides to do on that. But just know, if you live in, say, Butler County, Logan County, we got some activity not too far to the west right now, so you certainly need to be keeping tabs on it. Same goes here in Bowling Green. As I mentioned earlier, before you bed down tonight, because it looks like the arrival of most of the storms will be closer to midnight, you'll want to make sure your weather radio is turned on and that it's on alert mode, as a lot of these storms will be moving through while you could be asleep tonight. So again, there's a closer look. Tornado warning still active for now northeastern Christian County until 8:30. Latest on this warning from the National Weather Service, we do have a report of carport and sign damage, and the public reporting damage about a half mile south of Crofton in northern Christian County. Now, we don't know if that is tornadic in nature or not, but the public is reporting damage there, along with carport and sign damage just south of Crofton. Okay, and as I look for more info, we now have a confirmation. This is observed. Tornado was located over Crofton, 12 miles north of Hopkinsville, moving east at 25 miles an hour. Okay, so this has been confirmed now, with the public reporting damage a half mile south of Crofton, including carport and sign damage. That's what we know right now. So this thing is on the ground, tornado on the ground here in the northern part of Christian County. And no surprise, given the tightening of the velocity that we were noting a little while ago. You can see how wrapped up that storm is now east of Crofton and working its way closer to Todd County and Muhlenberg County. I would not be surprised if we get a tornado warning for sections of those counties in the next little bit, as we have confirmation of a tornado with this storm now that has moved through Crofton, and confirmation of damage south of Crofton, and now that's working into the northeastern corner of Christian County. So you've got this area here, again, the bright green against the bright red. You've got positive velocity versus negative velocity on either side of that, so you've got inbound versus outbound wind working in this area. And I'm going to zoom back in here tighter in northeastern Christian County. So some of the highways here, you got 189 that runs from Greenville down through Christian County. You've got Highway 800. And then I'm going to pan to the east here, show a little bit more of Todd County. There's Highway 171. You got also Highway 181 that runs south out of Greenville and toward the Elkton community. So those of you watching from Lake Malone or points west, you need to be prepared to seek shelter at this time. There is no tornado warning for you as yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if that situation changes in short order, because already the storm is in northeastern Christian County and could be working into Muhlenberg and Todd County, and it is dangerous here as we have an observed tornado with it. And that's working here in the area north of Hawkinsville and east of Crofton. I'm going to go back to reflectivity, and you can see how the storm's still wrapped up here, still noting that hook echo, kind of bending around. That area flashing there north of that, that's in northeastern Christian County, that's where some large hail is noted with the storm. And you can see a hail core there, northeast of Crofton. The max hail size still holding its own, an 1.5 inches in diameter, so that's still close to ping pong ball size. We have had hail confirmed with the storm along with that tornado. So that hail core will be crossing over the Pond River, and that will be heading into southern Muhlenberg County in the next little bit. So be prepared for that. And it's hail that will be loud. Anytime you get hail that's larger than quarters, Weather Service will warn for that. Of course, we have the tornado already outside of this storm, but if you get hail that big, it's going to be loud. It's going to pound on your roof, pound on your windows. It will certainly get your attention. So there again is the tornado warned area. We wait to see what the Weather Service out of Paducah decides to do with this storm. If we get another tornado warning farther to the east, if this includes Todd or Muhlenberg counties, then we will certainly go on the air here on the TV side of this. Okay, so tornado warning continues for another 15 minutes there. That's in the northern part of Christian County, as we've had confirmed damage with that storm. And widen out the view here will include Greenville, will include Elkton. And you can see a lot of lightning in association with that storm. And most of that lightning is situated there over northeastern Christian County, southern Muhlenberg County, getting as far north as the Greenville area right now. And in a moment, we will take a live shot from out of Greenville. I'm going to step out of the shot here on Facebook Live for just a moment. I'm going to switch our camera to the one out of Greenville. Of course, we're in the nighttime now, so seeing a tornado from this vantage point would be impossible at this point. We're going to depend heavily on storm spotters to do that. It was, though, a trained spotter that reported a tornado 1 mile south of Crofton earlier, that tornado witnessed by a meteorologist just south of Crofton. We do know of a carport that's been destroyed, along with possible roof and sign damage. So that's what we know right now. That occurred near Crofton, just a mile south of there earlier. And that came down just moments ago at about 8:13. The tornado itself probably touched down just short of 8 o'clock this evening. We started to get some damage at around 8:06 initially, the carport and sign damage, and then we got word that there was indeed a tornado sighting that was just south of the city of Crofton. Meteorologist Justin Hobbs is joining me now in the Weather Center. Justin, we've been watching this cell. It's been a long time since we've seen a situation like this where we get a long track supercell, but that's exactly what we've got right now.
Exactly, especially to see a supercell like this developing this early into the season. I mean, we just crossed over into March officially now, severe weather season. Going to go ahead and change that camera as we just disconnected from over in Greenville real quick. Switch that over. Let's see.
Yeah, right now, for those of you in Greenville, you're getting moderate rain, but the threat for the tornado, that's to your south and west right now. So we're going to keep tabs on that. I am going to go back to Max Storm here, and hopefully we'll get the feed out of Greenville back up here shortly. We were noting quite a bit of lightning in the area and heavy rain in the vicinity of Greenville. So we'll go back to Max Storm HD. Again, there's the tornado warned area. This has been a confirmed tornado 1 mile south of Crofton earlier. The possible tornado now would be several miles east of Crofton. And I continue to await word here for what we're going to do with the Weather Service. I suspect we could get another warning here for Todd and Muhlenberg County. So we're standing by for that. If we do, we will go on the air on WBKO ABC. So there's what we note with the storm on reflectivity right now, and you can see the strongest returns there getting into Muhlenberg County. There could be some large hail with that. There's a new sweep coming across. Let's check velocity. And wow, I have to say, Justin, that still looks very impressive, what we're seeing there with that rotation. You got the classic look there with the Supercell. Couple of trying to form. It's still pretty tight. You've got some bright green against bright red here where we've got positive and negative velocity right there next to each other. At 8:15 this evening, that's the latest sweep. This is now east of Crofton and getting closer and closer to Todd County. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. Because it is getting closer to the Lake Malone area, folks upstairs, Sheena, let's go ahead and make the call here to go live on WBKO ABC. As for one, we've had a confirmed tornado with this one with confirmed damage, and that's going to be rolling into Todd and Muhlenberg counties very shortly. So if you would, just let me know when we're on the air. Yes. Good evening in the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Shane Holliday along with meteorologist Justin Hobbs. We currently have a tornado warning in effect for the northeastern corner of Christian County until 8:30. There has been a confirmed tornado with this storm that touched down about a mile south of Crofton in northern Christian County shortly after 8 o'clock this evening, and that was confirmed by a trained spotter there. That storm is working to the east at 25 miles an hour. It's getting closer and closer to both northern Todd County and southern Muhlenberg County, which is why we're jumping on the air here. So let's show it to you on MaxStorm HD. This is a long-tracked or long-lived supercell. It formed over southeast Missouri earlier, produced large hail in its wake. We saw that around Paducah earlier, covering the ground in many spots. It is still capable of producing large hail right now, but it's also capable of still producing a tornado. We have to assume that a tornado could still be on the ground with this storm. Right now, the warned area is northeastern Christian County, but it's getting dangerously close to northern Todd County and southern Muhlenberg County. We are just awaiting the word here from the Weather Service about a possible extension or a new tornado warning farther to the east. But this is what the storm looks like right now on radar. I'll take away the warning polygon for just a moment. You can see that this is a healthy, classic-looking supercell. You can see how it is bending around like this. We call that a hook echo. You've got what we call a weak echo region here in the northeastern part of Christian County. So it's one of those classic setups where you may have blinding downpours, heavy rain, large hail, followed by a period of silence, followed by the tornado here on the rear flank of the storm, the southwestern side. So this is a classic-looking supercell. Getting ready to move now into northern Todd County is that what could be still a tornado on the ground. I'm going to go in a little bit tighter here. This is Hopkinsville down on the lower left-hand corner of your screen. There's Crofton. The tornado passed just south of Crofton earlier and now could very well be working its way into northern Todd County. We're very tight here on the zoom, but you can notice you've got Highway 171, which runs out of Muhlenberg County into the northwestern corner of Todd County. You've got Highway 107. You've got 189 in the area. 189 runs out of Greenville and into the northeastern side of Christian County. So there's reflectivity. There's velocity. Now, I will say this looks a little bit more broadened than it did earlier, but you still have what we call gate-to-gate shear, inbound versus outbound wind. The wind in the green here, that's wind blowing toward the radar site coming out of Fort Campbell. In the red, that would be wind blowing away from the Fort Campbell radar site. So right in this area would be where a tornado could be on the ground right now. And it's very close to the confluence of Christian, Todd, and Muhlenberg counties. And one thing we're noting, Justin, here, lots of lightning with this storm, and also the threat for large hail. Still a pretty good hail core with that.
Yeah, and we've seen that over parts of western Kentucky today where the grounds were actually whitened by some hail. We got some pictures in earlier today of that. We're getting the latest right now from the National Weather Service.
And indeed, we do have a tornado warning now that's going to take in a part of Christian, Muhlenberg, and Todd counties. And that will be in effect until 9 p.m. So that's a new tornado warning for sections of Christian, Muhlenberg, and Todd counties until 9 p.m. National Weather Service still noting a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located about 7 miles southwest of the Weir community or 19 miles northeast of Hopkinsville, moving east at 40 miles an hour. All right, so I'm going to take it off the hail core here. We'll go back to the warnings, and there is that new polygon that's flashing for the new tornado warning. Again, this is for southern Muhlenberg County that takes in Lake Malone. It takes in northern Christian County and northernmost Todd County, north of Elkton. This area flashing here, that's the new tornado warning that will go until 9 p.m. And I do want to note, for those of you in southern Muhlenberg County, northern Todd County, there has been a confirmed tornado with this one, and there has been confirmed damage with this storm. So please take the threat seriously. If you're in southern Muhlenberg County, northern Todd County, seek shelter now, and do so in a basement or the lowest level of your home. If you don't have a basement or a storm cellar, then look for the lowest level. Get away from outside walls, get away from windows, and stay put there until the threat is passed. Now, there's the look on reflectivity, and I have to say, Justin, that still looks mighty impressive.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive. And, you know, Shane, one thing to really note about this is a classic hook echo. You can see where that inflow boundary is going straight into this and just feeding this thing as it has continued rotation. Now, like you said, that rotation has broadened out quite a bit, but still the threat is very much so there. In fact, if we looked at the velocity scan, we still see that rotation is still very prominent. And that hook, a lot of times when you've got that kind of hook, you've got really good inflow with this storm, and it's getting that rotation that it needs. Though it has broadened, it is still a threat to be watched out. Now, here's the communities you need to be watching out. Who's under the gun, Embry Church area, you need to be in your safe shelters this time. Around 8:45, that'll be moving over towards Jason, and the Lake Malone State Park should be under the gun around right below the top of the hour. Now, I was looking at lofted debris, not really showing too much, showing a few blue signatures, so that's indicative that maybe something very light being thrown into the air. But again, with that kind of rotation, still a little broad. We're still going to have to watch that lofted debris to see if we get any signature on that. But still noting a little bit of that right along that where that hook is.
Yeah, in fact, I'll show you lofted debris here on air. And earlier when we were seeing this storm cross right over the Crofton community, we did see some dark blue, which is an indication that indeed there could be damage. And we did confirm that there was damage in the Crofton community. So basically that's what lofted debris is looking for here. Any sign that anything would be lifted from the ground that would let us know that a tornado is indeed occurring. Right now, as Justin mentioned, the rotation not as tight as it was a little while ago when it came to the Crofton area, but because there's been confirmed damage with this one, that's why we're on the air right now. That's why we're going to stay on the air for those of you in southern Muhlenberg County, northern Todd County. If we've got a tornado with this one right now, it would be in the northwestern corner of rural Todd County and very close to the Pond River. The Pond River kind of snakes its way out of Christian and Todd counties or Muhlenberg County, I should say, southward into Todd County along Highway 171 there. And again, this area we still note pretty bright green against bright red, where we've got inbound versus outbound wind. You've got negative versus positive velocity. And while the gate-to-gate shear numbers are not as pronounced as they were earlier, they're still showing positive here. So we still have to assume that a tornado could be on the ground. And if it is, it's very close to Highway 171 right now in the northwestern corner of Todd County. Okay, and there's new sweep data. So I'm going to adjust the view eastward here a little bit to take in all of northern Todd County, to take in Lake Malone. Again, if you live anywhere around Lake Malone, please be in a safe spot right now. There has been a confirmed tornado with this one, so this is not just radar indicated in this instance. Confirmed tornado with the storm, and it's now hugging the line there with Todd County and Muhlenberg County. And if it holds its own, that rotation does, then it's going to move potentially over the southern shores of Lake Malone, it would appear, over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. I will wind back out the view here and put Bowling Green in perspective. Bowling Green, this is still happening pretty far to our west right now. The storm is moving east at about 25 miles an hour. So I'm going to put the movement on the rotation area. And yes, I know you've got weather happening out ahead of that, but our main concern is where the strongest rotation is, okay? And that's moving to the east at about 25. So that's going to put it over the Cliff Hill Church vicinity at 8:45, the Jason community 8:45, within about the next 17 minutes or so. And then Whiskey Bay, that's part of Lake Malone at 8:52. That would be on the eastern side of the lake there, getting into Logan County. So those of you in the northern part of Logan County, in the Lewisburg area, need to take note that you've got a tornadic storm not too far to your west right now. So even though southernmost Butler County, northern Logan County are not in a tornado warning right now, this holds its own over the next 15 to 20 minutes. You very well could be. So you need to be keeping abreast of what's going on here. We're also streaming our coverage here, also streaming on Facebook Live. Again, there's the look at Max Storm HD. And you're looking at a very healthy storm here with a lot of shear. And there's the storm as it's stacked up in the atmosphere, about 30 to 35,000 feet up. So for early March, Justin, that's not too bad. A lot of times we get into late spring season, you can see them go 40, 50,000 feet. But for the 1st of March, it's pretty well stacked.
Very impressive, and just kind of goes to show the structure that this storm has and the intensity it has. The taller that storm gets, obviously, the stronger it's building. But like you said, we are still watching that area rotation. Still, it did broaden the last go-around, but it's still an area to be watching out for. Now, we did just get a report in of a quarter-size hail just 3 miles roughly north of Crofton. So. Okay. That's another thing aside from the possibility of seeing a tornado with this is the hail indication with this storm as it's been pushing through even off to our west where they've seen a significant hail earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, significant hail indeed. We were getting many pictures out of far west Kentucky of the hail covering the ground in some instances, anywhere up to dime size to ping pong ball size. And that threat is still there. Speaking of the hail, let's take a look at it once again. That core has been kind of waxing and waning here as far as its look of intensity, but right here over southwestern Muhlenberg County, max hail size noted 1.7. Could that size be reaching the ground? Yeah, it's possible, and that would be very close to golf ball size. So hail of that size is capable of producing some damage, and that's going to be working its way through southern Muhlenberg County, the area south of Greenville and toward Lake Malone. You could be dealing with large hail around the Lake Malone area within the next 20 to 30 minutes or so as that's moving to the east, that hail core, along with the storm at 25 miles an hour. And it looks like we got a new tornado warning coming down that's going to take in part of Butler County and northern Logan County. So new tornado warning here for southern Butler County and also for northern Logan County. This until 9:15 this evening. All right, so that's coming from the National Weather Service out of Louisville. And they are warning in advance of this one, and for good reason, because this storm has not only dropped a tornado, it has produced significant damage, and it's still very healthy looking here on radar. It's been a long-lived supercell indeed. So new tornado warning for what would be southwestern Butler County. That would include the Quality community and also the Lewisburg community of northern Logan County in on this warning as well until 9:15 this evening. So there's a closer look at who's downstream of that tornado. And again, we are assuming a tornado could still be on the ground out of that one right now in northernmost Todd County, southernmost Muhlenberg County. And it's going to be tracking into northern Logan and southwestern parts of Butler County within the next 45 minutes or so, hence the issuance of the warning there. All right, this is reflectivity mode that we're looking at here on Max Storm HD. And we're going to go back to storm rotation mode. This is velocity. And boy, this still looks very healthy here, where you've got gate-to-gate shear involved on the southwestern flank of the storm. So bright red against a bright green. negative velocity versus positive velocity on either side of the storm. Let me clear those out here. And right there in that area of northern Todd County, there's a new sweep coming across. So the possible tornado will be very close to the Muhlenberg-Todd County line. We'll go in a little bit tighter here to show some of the highways. There's Highway 181. You've also got Highway 107 in that area of northern Todd County. Again, northern Todd County, southern Muhlenberg County, please be in your basement or the lowest level of your home right now. This could still be producing a tornado in that area of Highway 181 and Highway 107, just west of Lake Malone. Let me centralize Lake Malone in the shot. I'll point it out to you. There it is, that body of water that you see right there that kind of straddles the county lines of Muhlenberg, Logan, and Todd. The possible tornado would be just a few miles west of Lake Malone right now. So if you live in the Lake Malone area, please be in your safe spot. And then getting to the east of there, you've got Highway 1293, you've got US 431, a very well-traveled highway that runs south of Drakesboro, south of Central City into the Lewisburg area. Lewisburg, you are in that tornado warned area. Please be seeking shelter right now. Even though this storm is still a good ways to your west at the moment, it is steadily tracking to the east, and if it holds its own, it's going to be arriving in the Lewisburg area possibly within the next half hour or so. Let's do some tracking on the area of rotation itself. And as it works to the east, you can see Lewisburg now showing up here. 9:02, estimated time of arrival for you. And then before that, Diamond Springs at 8:58, Deer Lick at 8:50, Cliff Hill Church at 8:43. So again, these are estimated times of arrival here on our storm track. But if you live in any of those communities, you need to be in a place of safety right now, staying away from outside walls, staying away from windows, as any lofted debris could come flying to those areas first. And we've seen this time and time again after being out on storm surveys. Justin, you've been on many yourself.
Oh, yeah.
2x4s driven into outside walls, so that's never the place to be.
Exactly. Now, Shane, I do want to point out, if you will switch over to just radar scan real quick, that the latest scan that just came in, it is filled in that gap, which would indicate if there's still that area of rotation, that if this thing does put anything on the ground, it would be rain wrapped at this point, as the rain has kind of filled in that little gap where the inflow was coming in, which could also sometimes help choke it out too, but it is still showing some broad rotation, not seeing that super significantly tight rotation that we need for that, but there's still that chance that we could see some rotation and easily get a spin up from this thing still. I mean, it has a history of already putting a tornado on the ground, so if you are still in these areas, you need to be in your shelter, especially over towards Whiskey Bay, Wolf Lick. Go ahead and get into your safe shelter. Along with Deer Lick, you need to be heading to your safe shelter.
Yeah, so again, those would be the areas next in line for the possible tornado here. And all that is moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour. I'm going to fan back out here, show more of Butler and Logan County next in line for the possible tornado here. And Lewisburg, Quality, those communities within that polygon there, that tornado warning until 9:15. We continue to check in from the folks of the Weather Service, getting a new, what we call mesoscale precipitation discussion. Something we haven't really harped on too much tonight because we've got the tornado threat going on right now, is the threat for some flooding. This storm is producing some torrential rain outside the tornado, especially in southern Muhlenberg County. We had a lot of rain earlier today, Justin, so flooding could be a concern. Of course, now that we're in the night, you never want to try to chance it when it comes to floodwaters.
Yeah, and you know, Shane, we were talking about this earlier when I came in today, that the sunshine that we got today helped fuel this today. If we had that cloud coverage, this wouldn't quite be the case because we couldn't get that energy that we needed. But because we got sunshine today after those showers moved through early this morning, that fueled our atmosphere, and it broke like a cap. It's like a bottle of Coke. It pops eventually, and that's what we're seeing this evening with this storm, which has been holding on to rotation for quite some time. I know, Shane, you've been tracking this before I was even in here. And this storm's still looking fairly healthy, although the rain is starting to become more conglomerate across the entire segment of that storm, and velocity scans are a lot more broad compared to what they were when I first came in just a few minutes ago.
And we do appreciate viewer reports here coming in on Facebook Live. Diane Edwards saying the tornado signs are going off in Russellville. Russellville, you're not in the tornado warned area. It is to your north, but nonetheless, the sirens are probably going off there county-wide. Sirens going off also in the Auburn community. Cassie, thank you for that. Phyllis over in the Glasgow area. Glasgow, you're okay at the moment, but we are keeping an eye on things for everybody in Bowling Green and points to the east. So, again, keep the reports coming there as long as it's safe to do so. If you're in the tornado warned area, then obviously you need to be in a safe spots right now. But we do know sirens going off in Russellville and Auburn in association with the storm. We're now getting reports of hail at Lake Malone. Adam coming in with dime-sized hail in Lake Malone. That's in far southern Muhlenberg County. So hail is what you're going to encounter outside of the possible tornado. I'm going to take off the precip rate's going to throw back on our hail tracker here. So the hail tracker noted from Lake Malone westward, and in all reality, this could be a little bit farther east of where we're noting it right now. There's about a 5-minute delay, or could be up to that, with the hail returns here. But the strongest hail returns are showing up over southern Muhlenberg County, and they are in the neighborhood of quarter to ping pong ball size. And that blue shaded area that's working toward the western shores of Lake Malone right now. So that's the hail core. Here's the velocity. Again, our biggest concern is that we had a tornado confirmed with the storm. We continue to check in with storm spotters, continue to check with the Weather Service. We don't know for sure if that tornado is still on the ground right now, but we have to assume that it could be because rotation in the area is still fairly strong. It may not be quite as tight as it was when it moved through, say, the Crofton area earlier, but it's still there, so we cannot rule out the possibility that it may try to put down a tornado again, even if it's not doing so right now. I'm going to go a little bit tighter here. It's still including the Lewisburg area. Keep in mind, Lewisburg, if you live there, you are under the tornado warning right now, and this is getting a little bit closer to you in Lewisburg. There is Highway 181. 181 runs south of Greenville and down into the Elkton area. A pretty heavily traveled road there, so the possible tornado would be right near the Todd-Muhlenberg line, right in this area where you have the brightest green against the brightest red. We have inbound versus outbound winds there. Velocity that's negative on one side against velocity that's positive on the other. So still an area of concern there. And if there is a tornado with this storm, it would be right over or very close to Highway 181 right now. And if you live just east of there along Highway 107, Highway 1293 along Lake Malone. And if you live around Lake Malone and you haven't already sought shelter, you need to do so right now. Dangerous situation there. Same goes for those of you along US 431, a little bit east of there. 431 running between Drakesboro and Lewisburg. That's the area under the tornado warning right now. And if you live along that corridor, you also need to be in a basement or at least the lowest level of your home. And then getting a little bit farther to the east, we mentioned the Quality area south of Rochester, Morgantown. You're not in the tornado warned area, but you are in Quality. So if you live in Quality, please be seeking shelter right now. Again, the storm is working to the east at about 25 miles an hour. We're going to put the movement back on it once again. And there are the communities. You've got Whiskey Bay. And let me update that because we just got a new scan there on Velocity Scope. So I'm going to go from the area of tightest rotation here where the tornado could be working to the east at about 25. So that puts it in Agnes by 850. That would put it in Hollowville. This would be getting into northern Muhlenberg County by 854. Wolf Lick at 858. And then Haroldsville at 907. And the Rock Springs School area also by 907. Rock Springs School is in the far southwestern tip of Butler County. So all these communities under the gun over the next half hour or so with the potential for a possible tornado touchdown. We continue to check with the Weather Service spotters here from out of the offices of both Paducah, checking in with them, the offices in Paducah and Louisville. And still awaiting a report to see if there's any confirmation that a tornado could be still on the ground. But, of course, we're at night. It's going to be hard here. It's rain-wrapped, most likely, Justin. And a lot of times it's going to take a lot of lightning to illuminate the base of that storm cloud, that cumulonimbus, to see what might be going on, whether it's a rotating wall cloud or an actual tornado.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we say with caution, do not go out and try to look for this thing, because if there is a tornado on the ground, it will be rain wrapped. You won't be able to see this thing and it can blindly hit you. So don't even consider going out. Also, if you are going to be out after this storm rolls through, we could possibly see some areas of flooding, some high water, as we've seen rain throughout our early morning hours today. We caught that break, which helped fuel our atmosphere, and now we have this storm moving through, taking you outside right now, out in Greenville. Check out that lightning, frequent lightning with the storm, so stay away from windows this evening if you're in that area where that storm is, as there is quite a bit of lightning with this, as well as that chance for hail. We've seen parts of western Kentucky see that throughout our day, and we've had several reports up to ping pong size hail with this storm as it continues to track off to the east. Now, this storm has picked up to about 30 miles per hour as it's moving to the east, so just slightly a little faster. I know some folks tuning in asking if it had sped up a little bit. It's only about 30 miles per hour to the east right now is what this storm is moving to. But you can see out in Greenville, they're wet outside. The wind's really blowing with this thing, and sky continuing to light up. So you can expect, aside from the chance of there being a tornado, hail is also an indication of things you could experience tonight, along with heavy downpours and gusty to possibly damaging winds if this is going to be moving towards your backyard.
Okay, so obviously others too farther to the east wondering, hey, am I in the path of this? Bethany checking in Gold City. Gold City, you're between Bowling Green and Franklin right now. You're okay at the moment, but just be on the lookout as we continue to track these storms working east.
Shane, could you pull up radar real quick?
Yeah, we sure can. We're going to go back to that, and
is if you look at radar, it almost looks like it's kind of recycling itself, because we had that little bit of a hook earlier. It started to fill itself in with rain, but now we're kind of getting another little hook with this, as if it's kind of recycling, going through a recycling phase to redevelop. You can see that it's kind of forming a new hook on it after we've seen it filled in just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we're back on reflectivity mode here on Max Storm HD, and what Justin's talking about is that you've got this area here, that hook echo becoming a little bit more pronounced. Earlier, it looked like it was trying to fill back in some. I say that would be the weak echo region between your hook echo back here on the southwestern flank of the storm, and then the core of the storm up here across the southeasternmost section of Muhlenberg County. But now we're noting more of a weak echo region again, so that could be a sign of some better inflow trying to get back into the storm once again. We often see this with long track supercells where they kind of wax and wane like that. So there's a possibility that some of the better inflow could be trying to get back involved here. And we're noting that around the Whiskey Bay area toward Deer Lick right now. And that would be the area of concern right now, close to Highway 107. So I'm going to go back into velocity mode here. And wow, this is still looking very impressive. Now, you've got a lot of what we call attenuation here, getting closer to the radar site out of Fort Campbell, but we can still tell very easily that there is still good gate-to-gate shear and rotation going on with the storm, which is now beginning to work its way over Lake Malone, out of Todd County, and into the northern part of Logan County. We mentioned those of you right along US 431, a very heavily traveled road between Lewisburg and Drakesboro. That's up in Muhlenberg County. Please be in a safe spot right now. There could be a tornado involved with this, and it could be very close to your area right now. And then getting farther to the east, we mentioned the Quality community of Butler County, zooming back out. You've got Sugar Grove just west of there. If you live in Sugar Grove, you're not in the Polygon warned area officially, but I wouldn't be surprised if this holds its own, that we see another warning issued a little bit farther to the east. And if you zoom back out a little bit more, there is Bowling Green. So we're keeping a close eye on this here in Bowling Green. Here in Bowling Green, we are probably, I suspect, seeing some lightning off to the northwest right now. And we may call up one of the webcams out of Bowling Green shortly here, Justin, to see what might be going on and what we can see here. But I suspect, given the amount of cloud to ground lightning strikes with the storm, which extend all the way up into Butler and Muhlenberg counties, that we are probably seeing that now here in the city of Bowling Green. Again, Warren County not under a warning at this time. It's all still to the west, but we continue to keep very close tabs of it. And you can see the potential due eastward movement could very well take this storm into Warren County within the next 45 minutes or so. It's moving to the east at 25. So just kind of guesstimating on that one. But there is the movement once again on our storm tracker. You can see the Wolf Lick area. Basically, within the next 10 minutes or so, possible tornado for you. Beachland at 9:05, Hickory Grove Church at 9:10, and then you have the Union Zion School at 9:15 this evening for estimated time of arrival. Union Zion School in far northern Logan County. This is north of Russellville. I know those of you in Russellville, also the Auburn areas, have probably heard sirens going off. We've had several reports of that. Just know that Russellville, this is to your north right now. Auburn, this is also likely to pass just a little bit to your north as well. I'm going to rework the view here, and there's Russellville, there's Auburn, there's US 6880. So this is likely going to stay a little bit north of that area. As long as it moves due east, you're okay there in Russellville and Auburn, but you're not okay there in Lewisburg and in the northern part of Logan County, most susceptible here to a possible tornado. Right now, that possible tornado looks like it is over the southern shores of Lake Malone, right along the Todd-Logan County line. We continue to check in with the Weather Service here, and we got a continuation of that tornado warning, Justin, for southernmost Butler County, northernmost Logan County until 9:15.
Yeah, and Shane, what I've been noticing, I've been kind of switching between different radars because we're kind of getting to that point where it's going to start shifting out of Fort Campbell, starting to get towards the Nashville radar site. And it's interesting to see the difference between the two scans, one showing that inflow boundary a little bit stronger than the one over in Fort Campbell.
Yeah, and I'm shifting to that right now, and we're to the point where it's crossing over from one scan to the other, and you can see what Justin's talking about right there, just to the west of Lewisburg. Let me take away the lightning for just a moment. And you can definitely see, yeah, it's still wrapped up in that area just to the northwest of Lewisburg. Are we noting anything with lofted debris right now?
No, not seeing anything on lofted debris, so that's some good news.
Okay, yeah, that is good news. What we don't want to see on lofted debris would be a lot of blue shades. Well, earlier we were seeing a lot of that, and you can see just some bad data there extending up towards Central City. But if we were noting a lot of blue in this area, then we would certainly be a little bit more worried to the possibility that a tornado could be on the ground close to Lewisburg. That doesn't mean that you're off the hook, okay? It just simply means that you are not noticing any debris being lofted into the air at the moment in that area. Let me go back to velocity scope, and we're going back to the Fort Campbell radar once again. You can see the area of green versus red, inbound versus outbound. It's right over US 431 right now. So Lewisburg, if you're not already in a safe spot, you need to be there. If you live along US 431 north of Lewisburg, you also need to be in a safe spot right now, be it a basement, storm cellar, an underground room. If not an underground room, then the lowest level of your home, staying away from outside walls and windows. That's the area under the tornado warning still until 9:15. You've also got Highway 106 in that area, which runs southward out of Butler County into northern Logan County. This will be upon you in the next little bit. And also, going back in, there's Highway 949 running there out of Muhlenberg County. Possible tornado just to the south of where your location is. So I'm going back to reflectivity here. And you can still see the storm with a hook echo displayed there very close to, if not a little bit northwest of Lewisburg, and right, and I mean right over US 431. Okay, here comes a new sweep. So that now puts the hook echo just to the north of Lewisburg. And let's see if we've got some new velocity data here too. I'm going to toggle back and forth between the radar scope out of Fort Campbell and also the one out of the Nashville area. So bear with me here while I do that. And as I do that, you're going to see the data change somewhat here as far as the overall look. I'm going to take away the lightning here. We won't be able to go in as closely as we can with the Fort Campbell site right now, but you can still tell. I'll get in as close as I can here. Yeah, right there north of Lewisburg. This is the area of concern right now. Again, we are checking in with spotters. And right now we don't know that a tornado may still be on the ground, but this has had a history of producing a tornado. It did so near the Crofton community of northern Christian County just shy of an hour ago. We first got that report around 8:07 this evening. And as that report came down, we had a report of carport damage, structural damage in that area just south of Crofton. This is the same storm that produced it, so we still have to take that tornado warning very seriously, even though we may not know if there's a tornado on the ground because all the elements are still there. We've got the hook echo here. We've got velocity scope noting still some good inflow into the storm. It waxes and wanes a little bit, but right here is where that inflow notch is located, and that's very close to the Lewisburg area. And going back to Max Storm HD, still a very healthy looking storm there. Now crossing over Lewisburg, crossing over the southeastern corner of Muhlenberg County, south of the Drakesboro area, well south of Central City, by the way. Central City, Greenville, Powderly, you're in the clear as far as the tornado threat here. This is all happening to your south and to the east. And then the southwestern corner of Quality, you're still in the tornado warned area, even though it may pass a little bit to your south. If you live in Quality, you're still in the polygon area, so you need to be in a place of safety there in Quality. I'm going to go back tighter on the storm here happening north of Russellville. In Russellville, you're also in the clear as far as the tornado threat. This is to your north. Same goes for you in Auburn. This is to your north. Lewisburg, not in the clear, very much in an area of concern right now for the possible tornado. Storm structure looking a little bit more ragged, at least from this vantage point here, Justin, but obviously you've got what would still be a strong hail core, and I'll pop that up for you there. And it looks like the heaviest hail is just north of Lewisburg.
Yeah, like you said, it definitely looks like it's kind of fallen apart just over the last few scans, and even along with velocity scan, not as impressive. Still see some very strong winds flowing away and flowing towards. They're just not quite coming together and tightening what we need to get a tornado on the ground. So that's the good news. It is more of a broad rotation. However, still need to be concerned about this. Have some folks asking online about their locations. As far as Scottsville, you are farther south in this storm. You are in the clear. Now, as far as Bowling Green, it's getting ready to knock on our door here in Bowling Green. Tracking this, if it moves to the east, it's moving around 30 miles per hour. That would put it about another 30 minutes before it makes its way closer towards Bowling Green.
Okay, so we're approaching the 9 o'clock hour right now. And if you're watching for Bowling Green, you might be seeing now the lightning off to our west. And I'm going to go to our live webcam. And we're pointed due west here from our studios on Russellville Road. You can see the tower. And yeah, the lightning is becoming more vivid now, as expected, and there's plenty of it. There's a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning involved with this storm over southern Butler County, northern Logan County, and that lightning is becoming more frequent here in Bowling Green. And that's one sign, obviously, that the storm is getting closer and closer. The eastward movement of this is not all that fast, but as Justin mentioned a little while ago, we could be impacted here by this one within the next hour or so. As far as the tornadic component of the storm, we'll just have to see how well that holds up as it progresses closer to Warren County with time. We hope that that will weaken, obviously, but right now that component is still very much there, and you can see a lot of lightning now showing up, lighting up the skies over Bowling Green from our AAA Systems live weather cam. Again, this is facing due west from our studios here on Russellville Road. We'll keep tabs on that. That lightning is going to become more visible, more vivid with time. So there's the watch warning situation. We're still waiting word here, too, to see if a possible watch may be issued farther east of where the current one is. The current one takes in our westernmost counties until 1 a.m. But you do know that the tornado warning that we have active is outside the watch area. And that's why we remind everybody that it's folks in and close to a watch area that are susceptible to seeing severe weather, and in this case, a possible tornado. So that's the warning that's active until 9:15 for southwesternmost Butler County and northernmost Logan County. I'm going to go back to Max Storm HD here. I'm going to take off the warning. And there, again, is the cell of concern between Lewisburg and Morgantown. Morgantown, you're not in the tornado warning. This is to your south and west right now. Quality, though, Quality, you are in it. Sugar Grove, you're a little bit outside the warned area. I'll pop the polygon back up here for you. There it is, including the city of Lewisburg. Still in effect for about another 19 minutes here officially.
And Shane, I just got in from one of our former weather interns that they have penny-sized hail in Lewisburg right now.
Okay, so one of our weather interns reporting hail to penny size that would be about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. falling in Lewisburg, and that does confirm what we were noting on radar. There's the hail core that's just moved through the Lewisburg area, especially the north side of it. The strongest hail core is now showing up just a little bit to the northeast of Lewisburg, and still noting hail size that would be severe in criteria in its own right outside the tornado threat that would be just over an inch in diameter. That's showing up now over northern Logan County, basically between Lewisburg and Quality. But you've got that whole area there where we could be encountering hail, and that is in northern Logan County now, pushing its way into the southwesternmost part of Butler County. Again, looking here at lofted debris, we're looking at areas of deepest or darkest blues, not noting anything that would really jump out at us right now, which is good news. We hope that it stays that way. We would like to see, obviously, this area of rotation weakening. And going back to velocity scope, if anything, it does look like the rotation may be broadening out somewhat right now, Justin.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially when you're looking at that Fort Campbell scan. Still waiting for it to get a little closer with that Nashville scan. Nashville scan looking a little bit more impressive. As you slide over, you'll see that once it does that little shift, still showing a little bit more prominence with that hook. But again, we got to see how once it moves a little closer to that Nashville, because that's pretty far out from the Nashville radar. So we'll still watch to see how that moves, but still watching this thing. It still could be possibly producing a tornado. So again, if you're in that area, you do need to be in your safe shelter, whether that's the center of your home or in your basement. You need to be heading to those locations right now. And we've been tracking this storm throughout the evening. Now, aside from this storm, I also want to point out there's still some storms developing just off to our west, where there's actually tornado warnings in far eastern Missouri this evening. And there's some more storms headed this way this evening. So just because we have this one storm rolling through doesn't mean we're quite in the clear yet. In fact, as you can see right now, some storms just to the west of Paducah still producing very strong storms, and even with a tornado warning storm just west of Paducah.
Yeah, look at all that lightning showing up there across southern Illinois down to southeast Missouri. I suppose if there's any good news, I'm noting the hail cores here. I'll take off the lightning. Hail cores over southeast Missouri don't look as impressive as they did 30, 45 minutes ago, so that's a sign of some weakening. We hope that trend continues, obviously. And going back to our tornado warning storm here in northern Logan, southern Butler County, again, that's our area of concern right now. The hail core here is still holding its own. I'm going to go back to velocity. As noted from the Fort Campbell site, this is the one that would be looking at this one from the southeast, or southwest, I should say, shooting at it toward the northeast. It doesn't look as impressive as it did earlier as far as the rotation where the storm goes. Now, there's still some broad rotation here, mind you, but it's not as tight as it was, say, 45 minutes or an hour ago when it was moving through northern Christian County. So that is good news. And I suspect if that trend continues, then if we get another warning to the east of where this current tornado warning is, it would probably be a severe thunderstorm warning versus a tornado warning. That's the thinking here, and that's the hope here, okay? So that is over northern Logan County right now. We're still looking at the Lewisburg area. Southwestern corner of Butler County, that would take in Quality. Still under the tornado warning, still in effect until 9:15. Chief Meteorologist Shane Holliday along with meteorologist Justin Hobbs. We've reached the 9 o'clock hour. You're watching live severe weather coverage here on WBKO for a long-track supercell, still holding its own over northern Logan County, now southern Butler County, the Quality area down toward Lewisburg, seeing the heaviest weather right now. This storm has had a history of producing a tornado. It did have a confirmed tornado with it when it crossed through northern Christian County about an hour ago. Damage was done near the Crofton community. A mile south of there, we had a report of carport damage, structural damage in that area. We don't know of any other damage in its wake right now, but of course, damage can be hard to see at night, and it could be daylight tomorrow before any more damage is realized from this. But since that time, we've had tornado warnings for part of Muhlenberg and Todd counties. Those have come down. The current one is in effect for southwestern Butler County and northern Logan County until 9:15. There's the look of the storm on Max Storm HD. Reflectivity still very impressive here. Torrential downpours in the red shaded areas here. Look at the rainfall rate, over 6 inches an hour. Of course, that's not going to be what actually falls there in northern Logan County, but that just tells you extremely heavy rainfall involved with this storm. There's a new sweep on it. It's now working to the northeast of Lewisburg, also moving through south and southwesternmost Butler County, including the Quality area. It's going to be working towards Sugar Grove shortly. And again, we continue to await word from the Weather Service as the storm gets closer to Bowling Green, what they're going to do here. It looks to me, though, based on velocity scope, not looking quite as impressive as it did earlier, that we may get a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning if a new one should be issued. That could take in the city of Bowling Green. Again, we are waiting to see what the Weather Service is going to do here. And, okay, we're getting word from them right now, from Brian, the meteorologist there, the Weather Service. It looks like at this point they're going to go with a severe thunderstorm warning rather than a tornado warning for this one, Justin.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's a great call because this storm has continued to decrease with that rotation. It's become much more broad. It looks like the rain is more taking over with it at this point, which helping it choke out. And actually, I'm taking a step outside right now, Shane, and I am seeing the rain is falling right now here in Bowling Green. Some frequent lightning, too. If you switch the camera over to outside right now, just outside the studio, some frequent lightning. So alongside from the chance of that rotation, which is, again, going to become just a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, as that rotation has really decreased quite a bit. We are still expecting that potential for hail this evening, which can be very damaging. Along with the damaging winds, we could see those winds cause some damage. So if you are going to be out and about this evening, stay indoors while the storm is rolling through, especially with this frequent lightning around this time of the year, too. Very impressive to see this kind of lightning.
It is.
This early on in the season, which, of course, March kicking off severe weather season. And I guess we're kicking off just right at this point.
Yeah, we are in Severe Weather Awareness Week here in Kentucky. I mentioned earlier, we've got the statewide tornado drill coming up Wednesday morning. How timely is this situation tonight? Just a reminder that the season is upon us. And again, there's that new severe thunderstorm warning. It is not a tornado warning for Bowling Green. It's a severe thunderstorm warning here, which is the lesser of the two evils. But that's what we've got until 9:30. Takes in a large portion of Warren County, Butler County, and also the northeastern corner of Logan County. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning, which is some good news here. There has been some weakening with the rotation center. It's not quite as pronounced as it was earlier. The storm is starting to do what we call bow out a little bit here. It's not the supercell structure that we noted, say 45 minutes or an hour ago, not as tight as it was. Going to go back into velocity here. And you can see there, there's still some green against red, inbound versus outbound, but the green is not as bright as it was, and the red is not as bright as it was earlier. So that tells us that the inbound, outbound wind structure is not as pronounced. And that is good news.
And something you can also note, too, Shane, is just ahead of this storm now. You can see where that rain is developing, kind of ahead of it, even here in Bowling Green and down to the south. A lot of times when that rain develops ahead of where the storm is, it is an indicative sense that that storm is weakening.
Yeah, and I'm going to go in a little bit tighter here. Again, Bowling Green under a severe thunderstorm warning right now until the bottom of the hour. We're going to go in a little tighter here. There is the area where we still have some broad rotation going on. It's not as strong as it was, but we're still keeping an eye on it there along Highway 106, Highway 2377. There's Highway 79, which runs from Russellville to Morgantown. And that would be the area here where the most pronounced rotation is right now. But as mentioned, it's not as strong as it was when it came through, say, northern Christian County, northern Todd County a little while ago, and that is some good news. Let's check the hail core once again. Still noting some decent-sized hail with this one. We had a report of penny-sized hail when the storm came through Lewisburg earlier by one of our former weather interns here in our weather department. The hail size just over an inch in diameter in the blue shaded area right along Highway 106, which leads you out of Lewisburg and leads you into Butler County. Okay, and the hail actually looks a little bit more impressive on the latest scan here. This just updated. So let's go back into this once again. And along Highway 2377, hail size is back up a bit now to 1.7 inches in diameter. So there's still a possibility here for hail that could be up to ping pong ball size out of this storm as it works out of Logan and Butler counties and into Warren County.
You know, Shane, that's probably part of that RFD, what we call the rear flank downdraft, the back end of the storm, which can have some of the most damaging hail as well as some of those damaging winds. Now, this storm, as it is pushing towards our east, it is becoming more outflow dominant, and that inflow's really gotten contaminated. It's really not getting that much feed into it anymore, which is why they have downgraded it to just that severe thunderstorm warning as it does progress to the east. But as it does so, we could expect winds up to 60 miles per hour. So still that potential for damaging wind as well as that damaging hail. So if you are in that area, you want to step indoors while the storm moves through, as it's a potent little storm moving through.
And there are the times on it. The Bald Knob Church area, 9:13 estimated time of arrival for the strongest part, which would include the part that's still showing some broad rotation there of northern Logan County. Ebenezer Church at 9:25, Share at 9:25, and then Cedar Grove Church right at the bottom of the hour at 9:30. Let me erase this much. Again, Bowling Green under the severe thunderstorm warned area. It's going to be closer to the bottom of the hour, it would appear, before the storm would arrive here in the city of Bowling Green. You've also got another storm that has developed out here south and east of that supercell storm, the one we've been tracking for the longest time here. It's producing a fair amount of lightning in its own right. That's trying to work its way toward Rockfield and also Woodburn right now. And indeed, Woodburn on the north side of town, heavy rain showing up there right along 31W. Nothing tornadic in this part of the storm here, but we are noting not only heavy rain, but also quite a bit of lightning showing up here north of Woodburn. This also takes in the area along 242, getting out of Woodburn and working your way toward US 6880. Heavy rain in that area, too. That's going to be working toward the Rich Pond community in the next little while. So all these areas under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but again, not a tornado warning in Warren County at this time.
And Shane, I was just taking a look out on our webcam. Quite a bit of lightning right now. In fact, starting to see that cloud to ground lightning as it's getting closer on the horizon.
Yeah, let's go back to the webcam. I wanted to do that a little while ago, and then we had the severe thunderstorm warning issued. But there's our view once again. We're looking due west from the studios here on Russellville Road. The lightning is becoming more frequent by the minute, and expect that to be the case for Bowling Green as we work closer to the bottom of the hour. That's when we expect the main crux of this storm to arrive. It's now working through communities like Sugar Grove, Quality up in Butler County, the Costello community in northern Logan County right now, getting in on some of the heaviest weather. There's also still some broad rotation there in the vicinity of Costello, especially just north of there along the Butler-Logan County line. And that's going to be moving toward the Sharer community and also Buffalo Fork, which is basically right on the Warren-Butler-Logan County confluence in the next little while. So be aware, there could be some strong gusty winds with that. I'm going to go back to the radar product here. We'll keep an eye on the look outside here on Bowling Green. Again, Bowling Green under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, not a tornado warning, but there's still a threat here for straight line winds to 60 miles an hour and also a threat for large hail here in the city within the next half hour or so. And we still cannot forget that we have the tornado warning remaining up for another 6 minutes for those of you in southwestern Butler County and northern Logan County. Even though the rotation is not as strong as it was a little while ago, we don't want to completely let you off the hook just yet there in that warned area. There is the velocity scope, still noting rotation. Broad, though, but it's still there over southwesternmost Butler County and northernmost Logan County. I'm going to the radar site now out of Nashville. I'm going to go in as tight as I can to this area and then pan my way over to the west somewhat. I'm going to take out the lightning and warning layers there. And still some decent inflow. But what we don't know is what we saw earlier, about 45 minutes or an hour ago, where we had that bright green against bright red. So that tells us that the low-level rotation is not as pronounced as it was an hour ago when this was going through Christian County, moving out of there into northern Todd County, which is some good news. But still under the tornado warning there in a part of northern Logan County and a part of southwestern Butler County for about another 5 minutes until that one's off the board. Justin checking in with folks at the Weather Service.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing anything a few minutes ago, just seeing that Brian from the National Weather Service saying they are going to hold off from even considering that a tornado warning. It's going to stay a severe thunderstorm warning as it moves to the east, as that rotation is still fairly broad. However, if it does tighten it up, we will expect them to reissue that warning. But right now, again, like you said, Shane, rotation has broadened out quite a bit over the last few scans as it's continued to move off to the east.
Okay, so possibility still there for some strong gusty straight line winds, and possibility still there for some large hail as the storm gets a little bit closer to Bowling Green. The tornado warning, that'll be coming down here in just a few minutes for Butler and Logan counties. And are we getting anything new from the Weather Service here?
see anything.
Okay. Want to make sure. As that tornado warning comes down, what we will likely do at that moment is go back to regular programming on WBKO ABC, but we will stay with our streaming coverage here on the Facebook Live as the storm does not look quite as intense as it did earlier, although we still have a severe thunderstorm warning with it that will take in the city of Bowling Green until 9:30. So that's our plan at this point. Once that tornado warning comes down, and that will happen here within the next 2.5 minutes for those of you in Butler and Logan counties. At that point, we'll kind of regroup our efforts here, but again, we'll continue to be live here, Justin and I, on Facebook Live as we could track this storm as it works its way out of Butler and Logan counties and into Warren County. Still very impressed there by the returns I'm seeing on radar, particularly over southern Butler County. Going to go back into this area once again. And I know we're going back and forth between one radar site to another, which is why the look of the reflectivity changes a little bit as we do so. But very impressive rain there around Sugar Grove, also in the northern part of Logan County. And right there, heavy rainfall rates here of several inches per hour rolling through Sugar Grove right now. A ton of lightning with the storm, lightning that could potentially put out your power at least briefly there. And strong wind. I want to note the shear product here. I'll take off the warning layers for just a moment. You see that area blue, and actually several showing up here in northern Logan County, southern Butler County. There is strong straight line wind potential with those shearing winds that are working out of the Lewisburg area, and we'll be working toward far western Warren County here in the next little bit. Okay, we've now got an expiration officially on the tornado warning for Butler and Logan counties. But we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Bowling Green until 9:30. Also for a portion of Butler County that takes in Sugar Grove, there it is, and northeasternmost Logan County, just northeast of Chandler's Chapel, under the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30. And that's for this cluster of thunderstorms now. Not looking as healthy as it once did, that supercell structure, but still noting a fair amount of wind with this one. Noting what could be some large hail with this one. There it is showing up over southern Butler County. Moving toward the Sugar Grove area, that's going to arrive in the Hadley area of northwestern Warren County in the next little while, moving over US 231 and also I-165. And still a lot of lightning with this storm, which will become more frequent with time here as it moves into the Bowling Green area. One more word for you, Justin, before we go back on air on WBKO.
Just stay focused tonight. Just stay aware with the weather that's going on, as we do still have that severe weather. So with that gusty winds that are moving through, I mean, possibly up to 70 miles per hour, that's still considered damaging winds. So be careful tonight if you are going to be out and about, especially after these storms move through. They are putting down quite a bit of rain, so you could see some localized flooding. So just be cautious tonight if you're out and about. We have had reports of damage already, so just stay indoors tonight. Don't go out and look for damage. Let the folks take care of the things tonight and get it cleared up.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now with the expiration of the tornado warning, we're going to go back on the air on WBKO ABC. We're going to continue to stream here on the line on Facebook Live, Justin and myself. Should we get further report of any large hail, any damaging winds, we will jump right back on the air on WBKO ABC. In fact, and we may do that as the storm gets a little bit closer to Bowling Green, which will happen here within the next 15 minutes or so, so stand by for that. Otherwise, for Justin Hobbs, I'm Chief Meteorologist Shane Holliday. We're going to go back on air on WBKO ABC with the caveat that if any further damage does occur, or if we do get a tornado warning, we will jump back in. Okay, so for those of you still with us here on Facebook Live, Justin Hobbs, Shane Holliday here. Storm getting closer to Bowling Green right now. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for the area at the moment, not a tornado warning. The storm losing some of its structure as far as being supercellular in nature. In other words, it's getting choked off somewhat here, but it still has the potential to produce some gusty straight line winds and hail. We've had a report already of small hail in the Plano community, which is southeast of Bowling Green. That came in just a little while ago for my wife, in fact. So living over there in southern Warren County. So we do know that, and that's outside of the main storm structure itself. I'm going to go show the hail structure. There's what we know. Now that the hail core, the most significant hail, is showing up here across southern Butler, northeastern Logan County, and now moving into far western Warren County. That structure not as pronounced as it was earlier, but it's still producing hail that could be on the order of close to an inch in diameter, and that's going to be closing in on Bowling Green in the next little while. Still quite a bit of lightning and thunder out there. That's going to go on for a little while longer as well. And I'll widen back out the view here to show you the lightning, which extends all the way up into Butler County, all the way back into Logan County, clustered there over northeastern Logan County and the far western part of Warren County at this point.
Yeah, and Shane, I'm outside right now, and there's quite a bit of lightning. Rain actually falling right now. It just lightened up just a little bit, but like we said, though, that main part of the rain hasn't quite made it to us yet, but very frequent lightning with this storm.
Okay, are we getting any rain outside there yet?
Yeah, we got a little light rain outside right now. It was about moderate when I first stepped outside, but now it's kind of lightened up for a short period. But like I said, though, that main part of that storm's still just off to our west, so I expect us fully to start